Nestled deep in the forests of rural New England lies the small town of Havens End, a place that seems frozen in time. Dirt roads wind between dense pines, and most of the houses are weathered, their paint peeled from decades of harsh winters. At the very edge of town, shrouded in shadow and overgrown vines, stands an abandoned house on what locals call Black Hollow Road for nearly a century. Stories have surrounded the property, stories of people disappearing, strange lights flickering in the windows, and a sense of something alive, something watching. Some say the house is cursed, others say it's simply old and empty. But everyone who lives here knows to stay away, especially at night. Historically, the house belonged to the Whitlock family. Patina, in the early 1900s, reports describe the family vanishing without a trace. Newspapers at the time called it a mystery, but over the decades, similar accounts continued, transient renters moving in and never leaving. Strange phenomena reported by the curious, and even local law enforcement who dared to step inside, leaving quickly, unwilling to speak of what they saw. Today, the house sits quietly, waiting. In the summer of 2019, Emma and Daniel Harlow moved to Havens End. They were city transplants, seeking escape from the constant noise and traffic. Hoping to find solace after a tragedy they rarely spoke of, the couple rented a modest home near Black Hollow Road, far enough from the infamous house to feel safe, yet close enough to satisfy their curiosity. Upon arrival, they noted the peculiar stillness of the town. Locals avoided eye contact, and conversations about the house were met with vague warnings. One elderly neighbor, Mrs. Callahan, told them, "You don't want to go near that place, not at night, and don't wander the forest. It watches." Emma laughed nervously, brushing it off as superstition. Daniel agreed, though neither fully understood the weight of her words. The first nights were uneventful. But soon, subtle oddities began to emerge. Objects in their home would shift slightly. A chair moved a few inches, a book opened to a different page, a window left cracked that had been firmly closed. At first, they blamed themselves, exhausted from moving and settling in. One night, Emma awoke to a faint glow outside the window. First she thought it was a car on the distant road, but the light hovered, drifting along the edge of the forest in a manner no vehicle could manage. The next morning, they discovered faint footprints in the damp earth behind their home, human in shape, but far too large to belong to any resident. Then they stopped abruptly, as though the person had vanished into the air. Daniel suggested surveillance cameras. Emma hesitated. Neither wanted to admit the growing unease, yet both felt it. As the days passed, the incidents escalated. At night, the couple heard footsteps outside their home, pacing around the perimeter. Doors they knew they'd locked were found unlocked. Daniel began noticing a presence, fleeting glimpses in the corner of his vision, a shadow lingering too long, moving against the wind, always just out of reach. Emma experienced sleep disturbances. Her dreams were vivid, almost real. She would walk through the forest toward the abandoned house, hearing whispers calling her name. When she awoke, the echo of her own voice seemed to linger in the room. Despite their fear, they rationalized it. Animals, old house, quirks, stress. But the house on Black Hollow Road seemed to grow stronger with each night, its energy spilling outward, rushing against them, reminding them it existed. One evening, determined to understand, Emma and Daniel ventured to the house itself. The forest swallowed the narrow path, branches clawing at their clothes. The house appeared even older than they imagined. Windows were shattered, doors sagging. Yet inside, signs of habitation were evident. A table set for two, a cold fireplace, and footprints in dust, fresh yet unclaimed. They discovered a journal, yellowed with age. It belonged to the Whitlock family. Inside were accounts of voices in the night, figures moving without shape, and a persistent feeling that the house itself was alive, a being that observed, remembered, and trapped those who dared enter its domain. The more they read, the more the air in the room seemed to thicken. Atia, the house had not been abandoned. It had been waiting, preserving itself, extending outward into the living world. That night, a storm raged through the forest. Emma and Daniel awoke to the sound of pounding at their door, followed by a low, guttural moan coming from the forest. The lights flickered, The walls seemed to breathe. And then, the whispers began, echoing from the house, from the trees, from inside their own minds. Daniel tried to leave, but the path to the car seemed endless. Every tree, every shadow, twisted to block them. The forest itself felt alive, guiding them back, closer, into the domain of Black Hollow Road. Inside the house, shadows moved against the walls. Figures, half-formed, reached out. Emma's voice trembled as she screamed. Daniel's hands shook. Yet, when they tried to escape, the door refused to open. Time became meaningless. The storm outside was silence inside. The house, it was patient, waited for them to understand that some things are not meant to leave. The next morning, the townspeople found the Harlow's car, abandoned by the edge of the forest. Their home was empty, untouched, as though no one had lived there at all. The couple was never seen again. Some claim the house consumed them. Others say they wandered into the forest and were lost to time. Locals continued to avoid Black Hollow Road, and travelers passing through report the same eerie phenomena. Whispers in the trees, lights moving against the wind, shadows that linger too long. The house remains, waits, watching, patient, and for those who dare to look too closely, remembers.